Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. It's our class of 2025 National Signing Day special. Our recruiting capsules continue here as we break down each player that signs with Ohio State today in another highly regarded recruiting class for the Buckeyes. We are talking now about four-star safety Deshawn Stewart out of DePaul Catholic in North Jersey. The Buckeyes get a dynamic duo out of DePaul Catholic in this class. They had success there in the past with Ronnie Hickman, and it's a program they're very familiar with there in North Jersey. But they'll sign two DePaul Catholic Spartans today, and Deshawn Stewart, four-star safety, is one of those he has signed. 6'1", 185 pounds, committed back in March. A little talk late in the process about other schools trying to flip him, but Buckeyes able to hang on here and get the signature. And he's officially in the class. Kevin, just your thoughts on this signing for the Buckeyes and just keeping that North Jersey pipeline going and getting a couple guys out of DePaul Catholic.
Yeah, Ohio State really likes signing Jersey safeties. Been some other ones not out of the same school, but Ohio State seems to look there for its safety. So, just based on that track record, I'm already in favor of this move. I mean, obviously, DePaul Catholic is a great program. So, there's something to be said about a player who's really a star coming out of a program like that. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to take somebody who's a star coming out of a program that we don't talk about. Star's a star, but Stewart is very impressive. I mean, he had more than a dozen offers. Again, he commits very early in the process. In doing so, probably cut his offer list and of what he could have had in half or in third. But everything I've seen from the tape, I mean, he's somebody who kind of fits the mold of what I think that they want to be able to do out there in this defensive back led type of defense, this 4-2-5 that they're currently running. And while they're only getting two safeties on the field right now, with the corner being the nickel back, I think that I could definitely see Stewart's game translating well as he progresses and develops and gets to that level of his own, his own skills.
Yeah, and I think he could play the either safety spot. I wouldn't even totally rule him out for playing that slot position as a a kind of a hybrid corner safety mix. I think he could even excel in that. He's very athletic. He's got good size at 6'1". So I think that's a potential landing spot for him as well. I think he's got some versatility for him back there. But yeah, we can get into the film here a little bit, and so everyone can kind of watch what he's all about. But here he is, playing corner. So he's a guy with a lot of experience playing corner at the high school level. Again, his length, his size, his athleticism makes him a really impressive athlete on the outside, but can also obviously get it done, probably looking at more of a slot or safety role in Columbus. But I'll tell you who he reminds me a little bit of coming out, because this is another guy who played corner in high school and was kind of immediately put at safety and had a very good career at Ohio State. Reminds me a little bit of Jordan Fuller, who also, again, from New Jersey, played corner in high school, made the move to safety at Ohio State, had a really good career at Ohio State, has been able to put together a pretty nice NFL career as well. That is who Deshawn Stewart reminds me of the most, I think. Kevin, does that comparison hold any weight with you, or how do you, what do you kind of see out of him?
I was going to say they should be so lucky to get another, Jordan Fuller, who had a very nice career at Ohio State, then went to the Rams underdrafted and had himself a nice little start to his NFL career over there. But yeah, I think as I'm watching the tape, and he was somebody that, Stewart, that I didn't get to watch a ton of tape on when he committed, because I think we were kind of covering a run of Ohio State commits at the time, and things kind of fall through the cracks. But I mean, I see a lot of the skills there that you'd like to see. I mean, he's not afraid to get up there and hit. Now, maybe he isn't a Jaden Bonsu or Jalen McLean with the hits, but then again, maybe he is. But I mean, I think that you can also sit there and see that he can get out there and have some cover skills, and he can do some things that's necessary. But I do like to see a physical style of safety. Granted, anything these days seems to be a penalty, but I think that he's going to be somebody that is going to be here in 26 or so, could be pushing for some time.
Yeah, certainly there's going to be some competition for those open safety spots as they come open here the next 2 years. Fahim Delane's a big name in this class. That's going to be a guy who's, I think, going to command some early time. But, guys like DeShaun, like Cody Haddad, I think have the ability by year 2 to start making a push toward if not the starting lineup, certainly toward being a big part of the depth chart, maybe part of a rotation back there. But again, I like the physical size. I like the athleticism. I like that he has played corner. I think there's some real benefit to that as someone who transfers to safety at the next level or a slot role. I think there's some real benefit to having that experience playing outside. I think it did Jordan Fuller very well. I do like watching DeShaun on film and watching how physical he is coming up against the run or coming up against the short passes, and not just making the tackle, but really making the receivers and the running backs think about it when he's closing down on them like that. So this is a really good player from where I sit. And again, I watched a lot of Jordan Fuller in high school. I got to see him at the Army Bowl, and I got to see him in different settings. And I do think there are a lot of similarities here. They're even physical profiles are even pretty similar. So that is a high bar. I understand Jordan Fuller was incredibly steady for Ohio State as a safety. He was a real security blanket for them defensively, had a really good career at Ohio State, and then ended up having has had a nice career in the NFL as well. So I understand it's a high bar, but I do think Deshawn Stewart can be a similar type of player for Ohio State moving forward. So we'll see how that goes. But again, East Coast, Kevin, a couple guys out of DePaul Catholic, a couple guys out of Maryland, a couple guys out of Philly. It's been an important area for Ohio State over the years. They really hit this hard this year.
Yeah, I mean, and it's important to recruit that area because nobody really can recruit just their state. Even if you're in Florida or Texas or whatever, it's important to be able to get out there and recruit elsewhere. And Ohio State has done a great job in the DMV area, in New Jersey. I mean, in places like that, because let's be honest, if Rutgers could actually keep all these guys home, they might be a problem. But Ohio State has definite great roots down there in terms of recruiting. And, as I said earlier, if you want to sit there and keep sending Jersey safeties to Ohio State, I'm probably not going to say no.
They've done a really good job there. And they've got some corners out of there too over the years. Eli Apple, Malcolm Jenkins. Obviously, Malcolm Jenkins eventually made the move to safety at the NFL. But yeah, New Jersey's been a great spot for Ohio State in getting defensive backs over the years. So maybe Deshawn Stewart will continue that legacy. But again, I love these are with the East Coast. These are big population centers. You have massive population density in North Jersey, New York City, South Jersey, Philly, DMV. Like these are massive, massive areas where football is becoming more popular. Kids are starting to realize, yeah, I'm not a 6-foot point guard. Maybe I'm a corner. Maybe I'm a wide receiver. Yeah, I'm not a 6'5" power forward. Maybe I'm a defensive lineman or offensive tackle or a tight end. Like they're starting to realize this, and there's more and more football talent coming out of these areas, but they're just massive population centers, and they're kind of no man's land in recruiting. Like, yes, historically Penn State's had a good handle on those areas, and they still do. They're still a huge factor in those areas, but it's not like every kid in those areas grows up, diehard Penn State fans. And there's really no other major top-level programs on the East Coast. And on top of that, a lot of these cities, they're like Philly and New York City and Baltimore. These are professional sports cities. They're not as like college. They're not crazy college areas like college football, college basketball. And a lot of these areas is almost secondary to the pro sports, which is completely different in Columbus, obviously. And so these guys don't grow up with these like firmly entrenched loyalties to all these college programs. So it's a soft target, and for lack of a better term, it's a soft target in many respects for a program like Ohio State, which can get you on a flight to Columbus in an hour, or it's drivable for a lot of the kids from Maryland. Like this should be a natural recruiting ground for Ohio State always. And Tressel worked it a little bit. Urban Meyer really took it to the next level, and they've continued to hear throughout the last few years. But this was a big year getting six or seven guys out of these areas. So big part of their recruiting class. Again, a great area to tap into, and a really impressive safety prospect here in Deshawn Stewart. So we will be back, obviously, with more episodes throughout the day. YouTube.com/Buckeye Huddle, talking about all the recruits the Buckeyes signed today. and of course, breaking them down and jumping on here with any breaking news that happens. And then we will have a Wednesday evening, let's call it the 5 or 6 o'clock hour, where we will go live. We will take some questions for anyone. We'll recap the day's happenings, anything that's left on the bone at that point. We'll address that if there is, and just kind of go over everything and answer questions. And so we'll have that for you guys as well here on the channel at youtube.com/BuckeyeHuddle. But we would also greatly appreciate if you check us out on BuckeyeHuddle.com, $4.99 for your first month, take you through winter practice for bowl prep or for playoff prep. It'll take you through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. The transfer portal is opening in a few days. We've already seen a couple of Ohio State players announce their intention to enter the transfer portal. So it's a great time to be on the site, to get the breaking news, to get the inside information, and to hang out with our awesome community of Ohio State fans. So appreciate everyone watching and listening. Please check us out on the website if you're not already, and we'll be back again soon with another episode.